Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
And we give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Billy Capistrano. In tonight's Game Plan, it's another NBA game day as we break down the overtime thriller between the LA Lakers and the Miami Heat. And since we're always a fan of new rivalries, we'll also revisit the Heat's growing feud with the Denver Nuggets.
As we are also always a fan of NBA scorers, we'll play our signature pick'em game, choosing among the top shooting guards in the league with Isaac Go and Tyler Teo. And as we inch closer to the start of the PBA 3x3, Paulo Javelona, Mikey Cabahug, and Matt Salem will tell us how the tournament will ignite a new level of competition. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. When it comes to the NBA, there's no better matchup than a showdown between rivals. And today, we saw an epic rematch between the 2020 NBA finalists. Take a look at that, 120 to 117 in favor of the purple and gold, much to the happiness of some of our writers here over at the game. Three-point win there for the Lakers in overtime against Miami. You see Russell Westbrook there coming up big with a triple-double. Anthony Davis with a double-double on the other side. Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero hitting big numbers for Miami. But Jimmy Butler coming away from this one with a bit of an injury. Joining us to discuss this matchup and other hot topics with a different Heat rival. Well, let's welcome NBA.com Philippines All-Star writer Isaac Go. That's right, he's an All-Star. And NBA hype analyst Tyler Teo, who really he really is the guy that is the reason why hype is in that show title. Grabe talaga.
Definitely.
Thank you, Pao.
Hi,
Appreciate
guys.
that.
Yeah, no, great having you both here. So first of all, quick reaction seeing that when it feels like the Lakers are clawing their way to each and every win, and it's never really pretty, but they do get it, Isaac.
I think there's excuse me, there's always a always a learning curve when you build up a new team, especially when you bring in personalities like Carmelo Anthony, Russell Westbrook to a team that has been done that. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be painful in the early part of the season, but as the season goes, these guys are veterans. These guys know what it takes to win, and so that they're gonna find a way to win, find a way to make it to the playoffs.
All right, now Tyler, with back-to-back wins, overtime wins for the Lakers, do you think that they can keep this up, that it's sustainable for them?
Oh man, you're asking the right person for that. I think they can. You guys know I'm a Laker fan, so I trust in my team.
Okay.
And I think it's a matter of time for them to just figure it out. I mean, like Isaac said, every new team needs time to gel, and they're not gonna gel overnight. So these wins are big for them. It's gonna boost their confidence, their camaraderie. So I'm excited for what the future holds for them.
Tyler, sticking with you here, obviously no LeBron, and obviously there's also no Jimmy Butler for a big part of the game as well. But is it a worry though, considering the fact that, okay, if this team isn't healthy if this team is without the LeBron James, that their games are kind of close and really nerve-wracking for Lakers fans out there?
Well, I think it's a mix of both. I think it's a concern because obviously LeBron is such a big part of their team, and obviously you want him 100% healthy, especially going into the playoffs. I know it's a long time from now, but you want your best player to be healthy throughout the regular season as well. But in terms of the close games, I think it's going to be beneficial for the Lakers in the long run because, like I said earlier, it's going to boost their chemistry, their camaraderie, and it's just going to give them confidence to know what to do in situations like that in the future.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now Isaac, moving to the Heat, are you a Laker fan? Just asking, just making sure.
No.
Okay, so moving to the Heat, with Lowry in their team, do you think that they can make it to the playoffs this season?
Like how far do you think they'll go, rather?
Yeah.
I think they're a sleeper pick if you're gonna talk about Eastern Conference finalists. They've got a team that's well built in terms of playing defense. They know their identity, and they got some ballers over there. So and they've done it. So this team is a little sleeper. They don't have a lot of the sexy names like the Durants, the Embiids. But when you put up a good team together under a good coach, they can surprise people. So I think the team can make the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, you know, we're seeing whether or not this is going to be a longer-lasting rivalry between the Heat and the Lakers because of recent success, because they've faced each other in the finals recently. But let's move on to the most obvious beef happening in the entire NBA at the moment. Of course, if you don't know what we're talking about, I suggest you Google Nikola Jokic and the Morris twins, because incredible scenes what happened there. And, you know, we're seeing a lot of discussions going around whether or not Jokic's reaction was warranted. Isaac, because you're a big guy, when a smaller person just blindsides you that way, and you know, again, Morris is still a big guy in general, but then if someone hits you that way, what do you think about what Jokic did?
I really don't blame for what Jokic did, really, because he got blindsided. It wasn't a basketball play. Morris could have tried to foul him by grabbing his arms, but instead opted to tackle him, and then Jokic reacted to that. So I think his reaction was warranted. And I think when Marcus Morris says here, when waited till bro turned his back, if you're Markieff Morris, you should know when you hit someone like that, you gotta keep your eyes on him just in
Don't
case.
turn around. Don't turn around.
Tries to hit you back. So I just like to say what Richard Jefferson said. If Markieff Morris didn't do that, Jokic doesn't do it. So that's that.
Tyler, how about you? Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, first of all, I think Morris's hit was also a cheap shot. So I think Jokic just did the exact same thing that Morris did to him. It just so happened that he turned his back.
Yeah.
So I don't agree with what Jokic did in terms of like winning the game, because obviously he's the best player. You know, sometimes you gotta control your emotions, but at the same time, it's like when someone hits you like that, you can't really, you know, at the spur of the moment, you can't really control your emotions. So I don't blame him at all. You
know, we actually saw a lot of these on social media. Billy and I were just talking about it a while ago. The tweets that came about from the brothers. We are actually talking a bit about whether or not this will have repercussions later on in the season if the Heat and the Nuggets meet up even more. And do you feel that this story isn't over just yet, Isaac?
I don't think so, because even Marcus Morris has some history with Nikola Jokic, and this can, I think, boil over to them as well, especially being in the Western Conference. They're gonna play a little bit more. So maybe next time we'll be talking about Marcus Morris versus Nikola Jokic.
Well, you know what? Let's see whether or not that beef will come true. But I think we gotta wrap that up, Billy.
Definitely now, after the break. As we are always a fan of NBA scorers, we'll play our signature pick'em as we choose among the top shooting guards in the league. Stay tuned, you're watching The Game. Welcome back to The Game. This coming Monday, two of the most exciting shooting guards in the NBA will be squaring off. Catch the Phoenix Suns and the Houston Rockets as Devin Booker goes up against our kababayan, Jalen Green, 8 a.m. live on One Sports. Now, as we are always a fan of top scorers in the league, it is time for us to play our signature game, NBA Pick'em, choosing among the top shooting guards in the league. Still with us are NBA.com Philippines All-Star writer Isaac Go and NBA hype analyst Tyler Tio. Hello again, gentlemen.
What's up, guys?
Hello.
All right, so basically the rule is very simple. We're gonna give you two names, you pick your preference, and you defend your choice. Obviously, there are some with the right answers and wrong answers, but that is only because I think that way. I don't know. We'll find out. Billy,
Let's
who's
see.
our first online, and who do you want to answer this first?
Yeah, guys, don't hold back, okay?
Oh,
Super
yeah.
okay. Just say all your opinions. We're here to listen. First up, we have Devin Booker versus Donovan Mitchell.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Who would you
Isaac.
rather have as your shooting guard?
Isaac, go ahead.
You already know what the right answer is for me, but yeah, just go for it.
It's Devin Booker.
Devin Booker for you. Why so?
Ooh.
Why so?
Because I think that they really have comparable seasons and comparable stats, but Devin Booker has made the NBA Finals, which
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell has made the Western Conference Finals. So that's the one-up Devin Booker has.
Okay. You agree with that, Tyler? Or are you going to go with my side?
You know what? Since I miss you, pal, I'm gonna go with your boy, Donovan Mitchell. I just think, I think it's arguable because Devin Booker probably had a better supporting cast last year. So I'm gonna give it to Donovan Mitchell because he's able to carry the Jazz basically on his own offensively. And of course, he has Rudy Gobert as the second best player,
Yeah.
who's a defensive stalwart. But offensively, it's always been pretty much the Donovan Mitchell show for the Jazz.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I was ready for this. I think I agree with Isaac when you look at the whole body of work because he made it to the finals. But then Donovan this year, I think in every statistical category, has been blowing Devin out of the water. But that's just this season, so let's see how it ends so far. But anyway, Billy, let's move on before I really get into this.
Sige, wag na. Next up, we have Jimmy Butler versus Paul George. Tyler, ikaw naman mauna. Your choice.
Ooh, I'm gonna go with Jimmy Butler here.
Okay.
I think it's because the Heat are playing much better than the Clippers right now, and Jimmy Butler has been to the finals. I think he's just more proven in the playoffs. I mean, that's not to take anything away from Paul George, but I think the fact that he has made it to the finals puts him over the edge.
Isaac?
I think I have to agree with Tyler. What came to my mind was if I was building a team and I had to choose between Jimmy Butler or Paul George, who would I take?
Yeah.
And I had to take Jimmy Butler. Just the intangibles, just what he brings to the table. I know that Paul George may be the more talented player, but Jimmy Butler definitely has more heart, more leadership, and he's proven himself.
All right. So now, for the interest of time, because we want to get through all the names here, we're only going to ask one of you to answer each and every question that we got here. So this next one's really interesting because of your defense a while ago for Devin Booker in terms of how far they got in their career so far. So Billy, who do we got for Isaac?
We got Chris Middleton versus Bradley Beal.
See?
Let's go, Isaac.
Ooh.
Bradley Beal. This Chris Middleton is not a shooting guard. He's too big to be a shooting guard. But arguably, I think Bradley Beal is the more successful player in terms of individual accolades. He's not having the best year, but I think that it's just a slump and he's gonna get out of it.
All right. No, I think that's a very good point there. And of course, Tyler, this next one's for you. Billy, this one even has me kind of thinking about it twice.
All right, Tyler, Jaylen Brown versus CJ McCollum.
Wow.
Right?
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna go with Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
That's off the top of my head, just because I think he's a more dynamic player and he's more explosive. He's a better defender. Damn, that's tough. CJ's my boy though. That's tough. But yeah, I think it's Jaylen Brown's defense that separates him. They can both score, they can both shoot. So I'm gonna go with Jaylen Brown for this one.
I actually may agree with you here simply because I think that he could carry teams. He has a bigger capability to carry a team compared to a CJ McCollum. But I guess neither here nor there at the end of the day. So moving on to one really athletic guy and one guy who really found a resurgence in the career. Billy, who we got?
We got Zach LaVine versus DEMAR DEROZAN. Isaac.
Oh, teammates.
Ooh, teams. I would honestly pick DEMAR just because he's been in the league longer. He's a little bit more accomplished than Zach LaVine, but I think Zach LaVine can easily in the next few years overtake DEMAR DEROZAN. But I think that DEMAR DEROZAN right now is still better than Zach LaVine.
Insane games that he's been having, talking about DEMAR. And we're actually at our last one here, and this is interesting because one of them hasn't played and the other one hasn't played to expectations. So obviously the hard one will go to Tyler.
Tyler, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's
Okay,
go.
this one. KLAY Thompson versus James Harden.
Ooh.
Love when they're into it, you know?
I think that's a battle of like individual accomplishments versus team accomplishments. But I think James Harden's individual accomplishments, kind of outshine KLAY's team accomplishments. So I'm going to go with James Harden for this one.
Really? We actually have a bit more time here. Isaac, do you agree with that?
Yes, actually. I think it would be a different story if KLAY Thompson wasn't in the Warriors and he would be able to chase those individual accolades. But right now, James Harden's an arguable top 4 shooting guard of all time. KLAY Thompson maybe top 10. So in that sense of it, I would take James Harden as well.
All right.
And guys, the $1 million peso question.
$1 million and peso pa.
Kasi nasa Pilipinas tayo, diba? Who is the best shooting guard in the NBA right now? Tyler, who is it? Who's it gonna be?
Oh, I still have to go with James Harden. I know he's having a down year, but I mean, it's probably because of the new rules and, he's probably just in a funk right now, but I'm sure he'll get out of it. And I think all his accomplishments speak for itself. I mean, he's the top shooting guard for sure.
Isaac?
I'd have to agree also. He's adjusting, and once James Harden flips that switch and saying, I'm not going to bait for fouls anymore, I'm going to play, I'm going to score, and you can't stop me, I think that we'll just see the old James Harden of old dropping 30 points, 15 and 15, and Brooklyn will just look like this huge monster in the East.
Oh, big words there. Again, James Harden with a lot to prove here. Still adjusting to the gameplay and making fantasy owners very sad with the production that they've seen so far. But again, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Big Chill, Tyler, Tio, it's always a pleasure having you over.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Now, when we return, Paulo Javelona, Mikey Cabahog, and Matt Salem tell us how the PBA will ignite a new level of competition in the 3x3 tournament. Stay tuned, you're watching The Game.
Welcome back to The Game. I'm Paulo De Rosario. Mag-iinit na ang lakas ng tatlo as the PBA 3x3 ignites a new level of competition. Tonight, three of the most exciting players join us to share how they will embody the lakas ng tatlo mantra. We have Pure Food TJ Titans, Paulo Javelona, Barangay Ginebras, Mikey Cabahog, and Terra Firmas, Matt Salem. Gentlemen, welcome to the game.
Hello.
Hello. Hi guys. Good evening.
All right, so before we even begin, alam ko that we asked you to make a scouting report of each other. We actually have set questions ready for that. And before we go into that though, Pao, I want to ask you first here about the physicality na ine-expect natin lahat dito sa 3x3. Kasi sinasabi nga nila that 3x3 is arguably more physical than 5-on-5 kasi grabe, takbuhan palagi, it's hard to slow everyone down, and so much pick and rolls.
Yeah, I heard that, but it's my first time also to play 3x3, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready, like I've been in the gym, like extra talaga po to prepare for the physicality, and alam mo yan, yung 3x3 kasi you need more stamina even if it's just 3x3. You need to like, it's a fast game. It's a fast game. You need to challenge, shoot, make a shot and defend right away. So it's gonna be exciting. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, perfect. Now, okay, so simulan na natin yung mga scouting report. Since nag-start si Pao, simulan na natin kay Mikey.
Yeah.
Kay Mikey muna.
Oh, sige, Mikey. So it's gonna be fun, guys. Chill lang to. You can, and we told you earlier to get to know one another.
Tell the truth. Be honest with each other. Okay?
Okay, first, Mikey.
Okay.
Mikey, ikaw na muna. Ano ang dapat mong gawin kapag isang Pao Javelona ang dumidepensa sa'yo?
Siyempre, Pao Javelona, in college, he's always dubbed as the keeper stopper, di ba? So, he's known as an elite defender. So, I mean, dyan siya nabubuhay. So, that's where he gets his minutes. So, for me, just to attack him, like, quick lang, like, quick step. Kasi once na you do your dribbles or, he's always gonna stay in front of you. So, just try to muscle him up kung kaya. Kasi alam naman natin lagi nagbubuhat si Pao eh. So, malakas. So, just try to beat them on the first step and, kakayanin.
Mikey, kung si Matt naman yung dumidepensa sa'yo, anong dapat gawin mo?
For me, like Matt, he's strong, he's big. So, I mean, I may not be like the fastest player, but then, same lang kay like Pao, try to beat them off the dribble, maybe like do a step back, no? Because like, for me, like my strengths is my shooting eh. So, feel ko, dadaan ko din sa shooting ko. So, when I try to attack Matt.
Grabe. Actually, when you're talking about shooting, I also think about Matt eh. And
Yep.
you can't help it, right? You
Yeah.
can't help it. Pero for Matt naman, syempre, we have a different assignment for you here.
Of course, we're gonna change up the questions a little bit. Matt, what do you need to avoid if you're facing Pao Javelona?
He's a great defender. He showed that in the UAP. Putting the ball on the floor will probably be one of my weaknesses. Like you said, shooting is my strength. But if I put the ball on the floor, I feel like if I do one too many moves, Pao's going to steal the ball from me. So, I just got to stick to my strengths, use my size, and hopefully I can win that battle over them.
Now, how about if you're facing Mikey? What do you need to do?
We put like 2 guards on me, so like I'm a bit bigger. So so I would with Mikey I would
looks like
mismatches whether it's on the post or a pick and pop or off a ball screen. These guys are smart, and I gotta figure out a way to outsmart them on while they're playing defense.
Yeah, you know what? I can't wait to see that. And Pao, ikaw naman, because they're always saying that, okay, you're going to be the defensive stopper, you were the keeper stopper. We all remember that. Pero, Pao, how will you stop these two guys? How will you stop these two guys respectively?
For me, I was with Matt for like 2 years in NU, so I know Matt can shoot. I'm just gonna let him put the ball down, make him drive, and ask for help maybe because he's too big for me down there. So.
Oh wait, I have to get a pen. Hold on, I have to take notes.
Just don't let Matt shoot because he can his lights out.
Now guys, since you talked about one another, who are you most excited to play against sa 3x3? Pao, ikaw na muna, since ikaw na rin yung sumagot kanina.
For me, I'm just excited to be part of this inaugural season of 3x3 because I never played 3x3 talaga professionally. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to play lahat ng teams and kung sino man yung malalakas na team. I'm just excited to play.
You know, I'm excited to see all the matchups as well. Of course, there's so many big names in this one. And actually, yung mga kasama mo dito, they actually named
Very
names.
specific yung sa kanila
They're eyeing people right now. I don't know if that's wise, pero tignan natin. Who do we go first here with Bill?
Siguro si Mikey. Mikey, balita ko, excited ka daw for Larry Fonacher and Mac
Yes.
Macdonald. Totoo ba to?
Yeah,
Why?
for
Bakit
sure.
sila?
For sure kasi, like, you know, growing up, like, Ateneo Lasal, di ba?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, I'm a shooting guard, so I always try to emulate their game. And then, syempre, like, Larry in his own right, he's a champion, Atenista, Gilas, Pilipinas, and then, you know, Mac Cardona, like, an elite, like, you know, offensive player, you know, Captain Hook. So, I'm very excited to, play against them kasi, like, this is not, it's just maybe once in a lifetime opportunity. You know, kasi baka mag-retire na sila soon, so we'll never know, di ba?
Grabe naman yung
yeah.
retire soon, pero tama
You
na.
never
Never
know.
know.
You never know. They've been in the league for a while.
Well, OG,
Yeah, exactly.
OG Cardona fans kami.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, 100%.
All right, last question, Matt. For you, who are you excited to play against? I heard it was Carl Dehesa. Why him?
Well, actually, Carl and I, we've been training and we're has experience with the 3-on-3. Like Pao, this is my first time, and I'm super excited about it. But going up against someone who already played on the 3-on-3 and has experience with it, it's knows how the pace of the game is, how fast moving it is, how it's confusing on defense, and just the time limit of the shot clock, just all these different things. He has an edge on it, so it's pretty exciting and challenging to go up against players who've already played in a 3-on-3.
Well, you know what, gentlemen, it's always a pleasure having you over here, and we're so happy that we got to talk to you before the 3x3 circuit starts. I want to see whether or not Matt really took notes on how Pao will defend him and if that will actually make a difference when we all start out. Pero guys, can't wait to see you on the floor again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Billy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you as well for joining us. I'm Billy Capistrano.
I'm Paulo De Rosario, and this has been The Game.